Okay, welcome to the program. You're with the Editor-in-Chief live. Great to have your company. I'm Duncan, Garner. And the open line is 0800 863 293. The lines are open right now. Text me 3598, and that comes to me directly today. The sorry state of the country's failing inter-island ferry service, $20 billion of goods, and close to 1 million people every year, they cross the Cook Strait every year. And in the aftermath of the Aratere's grounding, some are warning that lives are at risk, as is our economy. National cancelled the contract to buy 2 new ferries, and the critics say, what would politicians know about ferries? Stay out of it. Has that decision come home to bite them on the backside? We'll look at this today, and do they need to reverse it? We'll look at all this. Jump on the YouTube or TikTok link and leave us a comment. Get involved. 0800 863 293. What would you do? Text me 3598. We're on Rover, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, live. It's news time. Here's MediaWorks Deputy News Editor Grace Cocker. A very good morning to you.
The Interislander remains confident in its service despite only one ferry being operational. The Aratere is out of action after running aground on Friday, and the Kaiarahi is coming out of maintenance. This leaves the Kaitaki, which lost power last year, but Executive Manager Duncan Roy says it's more than capable.
Kaitaki's been operating at 100% reliability for the last month, 100% on-time performance last week.
South Auckland police are hunting for the armed suspects who robbed a Papatoetoe store. The offenders forced their way into Pujau Jewellers on Colmar Road last night. Dairy and Business Owners Group Chair Sonny Korshall says his friend owns the store and was violently attacked.
Has been hit on his head with the hammer, and also injured with the knife on the forehead, and it has been very traumatic.
A fresh batch of police officers are being rolled out in Auckland's CBD. Operation Safer Streets aims to target antisocial behaviour and crime. Heart of the City's Viv Beck says they finally feel seen.
The acknowledgement that police have heard and recognise the need for more police on the beat will be well received.
Meanwhile, a person has been injured in a serious assault in Auckland Central. Happened just before midnight on Customs Street West. The victim was taken to hospital in a moderate condition. Former Green Party MP Golriz Garaman will be sentenced in Auckland District Court today. She earlier pleaded guilty to shoplifting charges. And thick fog is blanketing the city in Auckland. Restrictions were put in place at the airport early this morning, with 15 flights delayed and 4 cancelled. To sport in the Spanish Grand Prix.
He's been pushed all the way, but Max Verstappen wins once again in Formula One.
Red Bull's Max Verstappen winning on Sky Sport ahead of Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton. And a big win for Kiwi tennis player Michael Venus ahead of Wimbledon. He and his British partner taking out the Queen's doubles title. Coach Scott Robertson names All Blacks squad of 32 for tests against England and Fiji at about 5:45 tonight. That's news and sport.
All right, thanks, Grace. When Auckland Rugby is strong, All Black Rugby is strong. I'll talk to Kayla about this too, but do you agree with that strategy? The Auckland Rugby strong, then All Black Rugby is strong.
As a world-renowned sports journalist, absolutely I do.
Yeah. Kayla, when Auckland Rugby strong, All Black Rugby strong.
We won the World Cup in 2011 without the Blues winning anything. We won the World Cup in 2015 without the Blues winning anything.
Okay.
We won the World Cup in '87. That was the only time the All Blacks,
Yes.
the Auckland team was strong. But other than that, did we need them? We lost in the semi-finals the last time the Blues won. We lost the World Cup in '99 last.
Look, that's my thoughts exactly. I knew all of that as well.
I mean, look, I was pretty stoked for the Blues. I was at the game, and the Chiefs did not fire a shot.
They didn't front up, did
It
they?
reminded me of.
It was a bit of a shocking score. I'll
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
It was.
Well done,
It
Grace.
was.
Thank you.
It was like clinical South African rugby. It was great.
It was 10-man rugby. It's brilliant up front.
was great,
It's
yeah.
strong. Good stuff. I knew you guys would agree on something.
Garner.
Okay, so the Aratere, well, big news over the last few days. The Aratere ferry has been successfully refloated and is back in Picton, but it's out of service. Did the people on board dodge a bullet this time, and could it have been so much worse? Luckily, when the steering failed, it landed on a sandbank, not rocks or a reef further out at sea. But New Zealand can't rely on luck with its transport planning. Surely this is a disaster waiting to happen, and it highlights a major problem. Victor Bello joins us from Maritime New Zealand. Victor, nice to have you on the line. G'day.
Good morning.
Why do you say it's risky and it could have been so much worse? What's behind that?
Well, I mean, as we see, the Aratere is crashed basically into the land in the Marlborough Sounds. It's been refloated, but it was just lucky, really, that steering issue, whatever caused that, didn't occur further out to the heads, maybe, or coming in and out of Wellington Harbour. And we all know what the kind of weather conditions can be on the Cook Strait. I mean, if that situation had occurred in a worse scenario, if it had been carrying a lot of passengers in the school holidays, well, who knows what could have happened.
Where are the rocks? How far are where are the rocks there? Where are the rocks situated? Where's the reefs and the rocks? Are they far from where they?
Well, just at the basically heads of the Marlborough Sounds. I mean, when you're coming out of the Marlborough Sounds there, and of course you get more severe weather conditions there, and we all know in Wellington Harbour, and the Wahine disaster happened in the channel there coming into Wellington Harbour. So it's a pretty ruthless, treacherous piece of water, and you don't want things like this to be happening all the time, which seems to be the case at the moment because the vessels are too old and having problems.
Look, it's well documented now, isn't it, Victor, that the vessels are too old. They're too old for the service of this route, and something needs to change rapidly, but these things don't happen quickly. So have we underinvested and are we behind the eight ball?
Oh, we have underinvested for a long time. We need to see the Cook Strait as a integral part of the rail and the road system, joining the two islands. A huge amount of investment seems to be put into roads, but the Cook Strait seems to be treated as this afterthought. But it's a very important, transport route. But there was a solution. They had some problems with it, but that was the IREX project which got cancelled late last year. And now, obviously, what's happened is the government's having to revisit the whole thing, and they're now talking about getting new vessels built again. How this plays out, we'll be years off getting them now because we would have had them within a year or two, those new vessels that were just about to start being built, and now we're looking probably the end of the decade before we've got anything new.
Well, hang on a second. So we could wait another 10 years, or we could wait another 5, 6, maybe 7 years for these things to be delivered now that the report that's gone to the ministers says, yeah, we better get some new ones here. Quite timely, but the cancellation just means a delay.
Well, that's effectively it. But, of course, what they're talking about is when they go back to, it's all, this is just, they seem to be making it up as they go along. But what it will mean is that you'll have to go into the process. The new ferries won't be as, they'll be inferior in terms of their design and their capability to what the ones they had ordered with. And the sad thing about it, the problem with the project was not the ferries. They got a good deal with them. The problem was the terminals. But now, it's going to take years to get, we'll have to rebook with the shipyard. They'll have to start building again. And, we don't have a reputation now as particularly reliable customers. And it will cost a lot. It'll cost a lot more. And in the meantime, we're paying now, it looks like Kiwi Rail is saying $65 million a year. They've had to double the maintenance budget on the current ferry. So it wouldn't surprise me if we actually come off with worse ferries, no new terminals, and it's costing just as much or more.
Yeah, that's alarming, isn't it? I wonder if they can reverse that contract that they halted with. I think it was Hyundai out of Korea. Can they? Is any chance of reversing it and getting it going again from tomorrow, or what's the deal? Do you know?
Well, who knows? That's a good question. I don't think anyone knows that one. Probably even Kiwi Rail doesn't know that one. But I think that would be, if they could do something like that, that would be, even if there was costs involved, it might still be the best option. We still support that project. We think it should be revisited, and they still have to upgrade those terminals. This is the problem, is they're saying, we're not spending any money on it, but there is a problem in that the infrastructure and the ferries, they're past their best before date. We all know that.
Yeah. Hey, just finally, briefly, final question. With the fact that this could now be a much longer turnaround in terms of replacing them, so we're lumped with these things for a few more years. What is the worst case scenario? Because something, clearly there's stuff happening here badly to the public and to logistics firms, transport firms, all these. They can't rely on it. What's the worst case scenario?
Well, I think what we saw during COVID, for example, is the international shipping there were a lot of congestions and problems. So, at the moment, we've basically got 2 ferries out of service of the 3 inter-islanders. And I think that it's hard to say, but it's obvious that there's a few general points that it's going to make transport less reliable. It's going to be more chances of delays, congestion. Costs will probably rise. It works against the resilience of our economy in the modern world. And I think it's really, it could cost a lot. And of course, the worst case scenario, and I wouldn't, this is the absolutely nightmare scenario, is we have another incident with whether it's an Interislander ferry or, for that matter, one of the Blue Bridge ferries, where there's a major catastrophe and there's potential for loss of life and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean that's not something we like to think about, but it's a reality, and it is about more than just the accountancy. And I think the Nicola Willis and so forth needs to think about the implication for the people working and travelling on those ferries.
Yeah, it's a lifeline. It's an economic lifeline. We all know this. It's State Highway 1. It's also the rail link between the two. I was going to say two countries, between the two islands as well. Victor, appreciate your time, mate. All the very best.
Garner.
Yeah, so, real issue. A lot of you are saying here on online, you said to me, imagine if the boat had tipped when it crashed, says Dave. Get the wuckers out. I don't think that's going to take the people, the wuckers. Also, we should never have canned the new boat, says Dave. It was incredibly short-sighted. Cameron said, I kind of agree with Dave, but we're going backwards, aren't we? My sentiment still stands, says Cameron, from last week's episode with Brooke Van Velden. Cutting at what cost? Yeah, that is true, isn't it? Well, we're cutting all right. We're cutting the chance to get new ferries. It's understood the independent group set up by this government to review what is needed in the wake of a national cancelling Labour's plans to buy 2 ferries has recommended it buy 2 new ferries, but smaller ones, similar to what we have now. How's that? So we stop something, we review it, and we decided to buy 2 new smaller ones. Logistics and trucking firms and those sending railed goods across the Cook Strait daily say the link is vital and is effectively an extension of State Highway 1, and it is. And it needs to be prioritised, that is for sure. Prioritise it immediately. Up to $20 billion of freight travels to and from the South Island daily. It is a lifeline to those who use it, and delays and strandings and ferries out of service costs all of us and puts the national economy at risk, and thousands of livelihoods are at serious risk of this. Simply put, we have to get it right. The PM says they will replace the fleet with what he calls, quote, great new ships, cheaper than what Labor promised. The cost cutting is what got us here in the first place. Some things you simply have to invest in and spend money on, don't you? This is one of them. Dom Kalashi is with Transporting New Zealand. Dom, welcome. PM says great new ships are coming. This is heartening for you, isn't it?
Look, it is, yeah. Although that's going to be some time off, and so we're really focused on the now, and that's trying to minimise any disruptions that might occur.
Yeah, give us a perspective of how important reliable ships are to the nation's progress.
Well, I think we all know movement of freight and of people keeps the economy going, so it is really important. And as I say, really our focus is on what can we do whilst the supply of services is constrained. We're talking to all our members today about making sure freight is prioritised. If it doesn't need to go over the next couple of weeks, then can it be deferred? And that any bookings that are or have been made, that they are fully utilised.
What's the immediate impact? So the next couple of weeks you just talk about just there, I'm interested in that. What could be delayed? What could be held up? What sort of freight could not be sent, and how would the public notice an impact?
Well, a lot of freight isn't time sensitive. Right now, unfortunately, I don't have a handle on exactly over this next couple of weeks how much in tonnage that is. But we are a little. There's a little bit of luck, but a little bit of planning. I mean, the Kairahi was always scheduled to be out on maintenance because this is a quieter time for freight, okay? And in some areas, and I'm talking about, say, potatoes and bulk wine, those goods are down anyway. So there isn't as much freight, perhaps forecast as normal to go. But that said, we are expecting a bit of pain.
Yeah, she's really paying things not to get places on time, and so people can expect delays on some things across both islands, maybe.
Correct. That's correct.
What do you want to happen?
So we're asking everyone just to be a bit patient. Both the ferry operators are working as hard as they can to collaborate and again optimise whatever service is available.
Dom, it's a bloody disaster, isn't it, the way we've invested in infrastructure in New Zealand. Got Northern had power cuts last week because, a power pole went down. And now we've got a ferry going up in the sand, beaching itself, and the other ones are out of service. What sort of backwater third world country do we live in? We needed to invest in those fancy ferries a long time ago. Not think about it again now for the second time.
Look, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and I agree. Look, it would be nice if we weren't in this position. But that said, I'm Kiwi born and bred, and I still think actually this is a great country to live in.
Sure.
And we've got to deal with what we've got.
Well, we haven't got much.
Right? And,
we haven't got much. That's the thing.
Well,
we spent a hell of a lot of money in the past 10 years and haven't got much for it.
Yeah. Well, look, again, I agree. But I try and look forward rather than back. And look, I've spoken to a lot of people over these last couple of days. And everyone, no one wants to see us in this position.
Of course not.
And everyone wants to manage that risk to safety, particularly with ferry crossings. And from everything I can see, everyone's working as hard as they can to try and fix this.
Would you like National to try and reverse that contract that they cancelled?
I'm not so sure about reversing it. I think it was a fair call. You can see the incoming government, their focus has been on safety, productivity, value for money. I'm mindful that Ministry Advisory Group advice is with government now, so we'll just see what comes out of that.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Hey, all the very best. I appreciate your time on the program this morning. Go well.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Cheers.
Garner.
Yeah, lots of feedback coming in. Duncan, smaller is what we should have ordered in the first place, says James. Do we want to destroy our harbour entrances underwater? Just have fancy big ships travelling between the two islands? When smaller gets the job done. We just need some ships that get the job done rather than be out of service. Right. 0800 863 293 is the number. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. What would you do? What would you do? How would you solve this? I mean, ministers are not planning experts. Nicola Willis, the first thing she does come to office, she's a speechwriter, isn't she? A former speechwriter. Decides she's an expert in ferries. Leave it to the experts, I would have thought. Anyway, let's talk sport now with Johnny Day, a wrap of the weekend sports happenings with Johnny Day from the Sporting Rumble podcast, one of the best in the business. When Auckland Rugby strong, so are the All Blacks.
Oh,
I'm trying to get
that old saying, eh? It's an oldie but a goodie, isn't it? And yeah, it's been 21 years since I've heard someone say that. So well done to the Blues. I was there at Eden Park, and yeah.
How was your birthday, mate?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. Acted surprised and had a great time with the friends and kept the missus happy. So
she's happy?
It was, very
That's
happy indeed.
Thing.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. So just waiting for the Chiefs to turn up to Eden Park, actually.
Do we know what time they're coming?
Yeah. Did they think the game's this weekend?
What happened, JD?
Well, they just got out-muscled, didn't they? Completely. That Blues pack did what they've done all season, went up the guts, kept it direct, and the Chiefs just had no answers because they had a tough semi-final against the Hurricanes and one day less than the Blues. Of course, they played the Friday the week before, and the Blues were just
dominant,
men-possessed.
This Vern Cotter, he's brought his Northern Hemisphere style. Obviously, when no longer does one player go into a ruck and maul charging in, three guys do.
Yeah.
Right, so they've got truck and trailer, 300 kgs of meat,
Yep.
It's pretty effective, like South Africa and like England.
Yeah.
So how do the All Blacks play? Do they adopt this style, which traditionally we haven't?
No, that's not Scott Robertson's style, and it hasn't been the All Blacks style that we've seen. No, very innovative. This is old school sort of rugby, and it depends on what cattle you have. I think first and foremost, and I think we do have some pretty good forwards, but when you come up against England, I don't think you can bully them up front. You much rather kind of have a go at them out wide, where I think our strengths still reside are in the loose forwards and in the midfield and outside backs. So
agree with you entirely. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's where we should play. But man, the Blues found a system that worked for them. And Patrick Tuipulotu, how inspirational is that guy?
Do we knight him for this?
I think a parade for him in Auckland.
Yeah.
Plenty of people to turn up, and he'll be a great addition to the All Blacks when they're named at about 5:45 tonight.
Good point. We'll talk All Blacks too. Are they going to have a parade for the
Blues? They should. If it was any other city in New Zealand.
Where would you have it?
Well, Queen Street, wouldn't you?
Are people allowed in there? Well, it's not just a walkway now,
Well,
is
it's not that busy anyway, is it? Like, you go downtown in Auckland, not too many people.
I bet we don't.
Yeah, they should, man. Get the kids out there celebrating these Super Rugby champions. They really should.
Christchurch, they'd have it.
Oh, definitely.
Wellington, they'd have it.
Yep. The Tron, they'd have it.
Yep.
Dunedin.
They desperately wanted the Tron. Okay, All Blacks, looking ahead, All Blacks tonight. Bolters?
Uncapped players we're expecting. Probably Sam Darry from the Blues.
I like
think
him.
for that fourth locking spot. I think
Played
he
his way
put
in.
his hand up at the weekend and said, yep, I'm your guy. So that'll be interesting. Ruben Love, I think, gets in there.
Fullback
from the
Hurricanes.
Yeah, and he can play a little bit of first five. So that could
How
mean...
good is he?
He's so good, talent, in terms of talent, really talented.
Is he Cullen-esque or?
Pace off the mark. Well, we wish, right?
Yeah.
No one's
Cullen-esque, mate.
He's so good. But no, he's that 15 who can play 10, so I think maybe he takes Stephen Perifeta's spot. I can't see Harry Plummer making it, but a few people are saying he should.
Why not?
After the way he played her. Well, he's a bit of a journeyman who's had a breakout season, but he's been behind a dominant pack. So you really want to see a first five who's not behind a dominant pack and how he goes there. So I don't quite think Test Rugby is ready for Harry Plummer yet.
He just doesn't seem to be. it's sort of Stephen Donaldish, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps. But Donald was awesome for many seasons for the Chiefs, taking them
Plumbers
to
had a standout
finals.
season. Good on him.
Yeah, and I think maybe Billy Proctor from the Canes as well, great centre for them as the fourth midfielder, and Peter Lakai, we'd love to see him.
Yeah, you want him, don't you?
In the loose forwards.
Who misses out? Who's going to be unlucky, do you
Well,
think?
I think maybe Sean Stevenson misses out. He didn't have his best game at the weekend, a few injuries and just a few guys playing better. And yes, Stephen Perifetta, I'm not sure. And Ethan Blackadder, who I'm the president of the Ethan Blackadder fan club.
Well, I'm a member too.
Absolutely love the guy. Plays hard test rugby. He just hasn't been on the park.
No, he's a tough prick though, isn't he?
So it's hard with, you got Lakai, Samapeni Fee now as well, Hoskins Satutu. You got all these guys who can play 6, 7, 8. Luke Jacobson. And I just get the feeling
Jacobson may not make it.
that Jacobson might get in ahead of Blackadder, but we are talking about Scott Robertson loves Blackadder. Leon McDonald loves Blackadder.
They know he's got a tank on him.
They do. Just doesn't have the game time. So.
No, I know. But the other thing is the Chiefs didn't turn up. How will that go against some of their players?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm actually really looking forward to tonight. It's been a while since we've had a squad naming with no leaks.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no one that I've seen knows who the squad is. So 32 players at about 5:45 tonight.
I'm just going to do what the Warriors did at the weekend. Go into hiding.
Yeah. Wasn't that embarrassing? Oh, man. Like, it is the worst loss in Warriors history. To lose by 60 points to the bottom of the table team.
Oh, I'm just feeling like I'm getting spanked here.
It's unheard of. And I know they were only missing 2 players through Origin. The Warriors, a couple of forwards who aren't really their game changers or their game runners. Their whole spine was there.
Yeah.
And guys who were the best in their position last year. Johnson, Egan, Tohu Harris.
Pompeii. I mean,
these guys aren't even turning up.
I saw this guy run at Pompeii, and he sort of went through with white gloves.
Yeah.
Don't use your shoulder, pal.
A turnstile. Yeah. No, there was just no effort, which is weird for an Andrew Webster team because when they've lost games, they don't lose by much under him.
So where's the steal? How can you be considered a championship team, which I don't consider them? How do you consider a championship team to win 1 week against Penrith and then a few weeks later lose to the Gold Coast by 60 points?
Yeah.
It's just unheard of.
It is. They'll be scratching their heads, and there's only one thing to do now because they can't win the title now. Any team that's conceded 50 points in a season, it shows in history, do never go on to win the title.
It's not the coach. There are 13 players out there, I'm sorry.
No, the coach is good, but maybe the selections aren't so good. Because
they've got other players, though?
They were forced into giving young players a go a few weeks ago when they had so many injuries. So you had Chance Nickel-Klokstad in the halves with Tamari Martin.
Yeah, you liked that, didn't you?
That worked bloody well. You had Tane Tuopiki at fullback, who's the future.
Go back to that.
Why not go back to that? Because you got nothing to lose. It's not like you're going to lose by 60 points again. Oh, no, wait, they're playing the Broncos. So maybe you will again.
It doesn't get easy, does it?
I think you got to send a message to these older players. Like, you can't just turn up and do that. It's time for some young fellas to have a go.
No, I'm with you.
This is tough times for Warriors fans who have had it pretty good for the last 18 months.
They will still turn up. Oh,
yeah, the faithful always turn up. Sold out already, isn't it? So no problems there.
Yeah. Right, what else we got?
We got T20 World Cup where the Aussies lost to Afghanistan yesterday. So we're not the only ones. Afghanistan are a good T20 side.
Yeah.
So the Aussies play India tomorrow, pretty much having to beat India to make the semi-finals. England beat America by 10 wickets, absolutely thumped them.
Yep. America did well. They can hold their heads up on this.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Top 8, they'll take that. So England are in the semis, India are in the semis. It's looking like probably South Africa. They play the West Indies this afternoon, and then one other, and we all hope it's not the Aussies, don't we?
We're betting against the Aussies.
Yeah, we are. And Euro's happening right now. The Scots are hoping to book their place in a round of 16 for the first time ever.
Brilliant.
The Scots have never made it out of pool play at a big tournament.
Oh, good on them.
So they're playing Hungary right now. It was 0-0 at half-time last time I saw.
Hey, I saw Michael Venus did really well too.
Yeah, he won the doubles title at Queen's. Yeah,
good
really interesting. Like, when's the last time you sat down and watched some doubles?
Only if I got home from a night out and I couldn't go to sleep and I didn't because I wouldn't want to get the head spins. So I sat in front of the TV and I put something on there. Suddenly it was a doubles match.
There it is. Well, that's about the size of it, right? It's like being on the double circuit isn't like being a top singles player. Yeah, it's a grind. It's a massive grind. And Michael
You're looking
Venus
for an income, aren't you, basically?
Has now won 24 doubles titles over his career, including the French Open once, and Queen's is the lead-up tournament to Wimbledon. So,
well, good on him too.
Remarkable result
because
for
he
him.
realised that at singles he was getting beaten, but at doubles he could carve out a career.
Exactly.
I think it's amazing.
Erin Ratliff's done the same thing in women's doubles. She's ranked number 2 in the world now, and we've got Kiwis in tennis who can win Grand Slams, just not singles, unfortunately.
Yeah. Where's Chris Lewis? And the F1, was there any Formula 1?
Yep, F1, Max Verstappen won again, as it does. Yeah, he's won 7 out of 10 this year. The McLarens are going well, though, which I always like McLaren because of Bruce McLaren. So Lando Norris was second, and Lewis Hamilton got his first podium of the year for Mercedes. Of course, he's joining Ferrari next year, and he's got the pip with people at Mercedes. So a good result for them and Lewis Hamilton fans.
JD, you're the man. Appreciate
Cheers,
it, mate. Good stuff.
3 questions
Okay.
from the editor-in-chief.
That is me. And
1.
At number 1, will this make all our streets safer, or just some streets? So the police have promised a dedicated team of up to 50 cops regularly walking the beat 24/7 in our major cities, okay? And that will give people confidence perhaps in those cities. But in an email from a sworn police officer to me overnight, this concerned frontline cop says he has heard that they're just moving police around and not adding new staff. So he says the cops are likely to be shifted out of the troubled Counties Manukau policing area into the Auckland CBD, leaving South Auckland further exposed. This is an exercise in political marketing and spin, isn't it? That's what I would have thought so. Anyway, at number 2, should Golrees do time? Disgraced former Greens MP Golrees Garanham heads to court today to face the music and to find out what sort of sentence that she should get for stealing around $10,000 worth of high-end fashion items from upmarket stores in Wellington and in Auckland. She has lost her political career, and it's been a huge fall from grace, hasn't it? It's all been played out in public. So should she be discharged without conviction? She's likely to be able to carve out a living still as a lawyer if she gets discharged without conviction. If she gets convicted and even a light community sentence, it's likely she will never practice law again. The offence can see people jailed for up to 7 years. Now, that would be too harsh, wouldn't it, to send her to jail for 7 years?
3.
At number 3, how do you get to travel for free on the Interislander? Be a musical group or a solo entertainer promising to perform on the ship as it crosses the Cook, well, tries to cross the Cook Strait. It's true, I never knew this until last night, but if you want free travel between the North and South Island, take a guitar and play some tunes. In an updated travel note, all passengers will also get a free night on board if the ship goes aground again on a sandbar. No extra charge, free chips and cold water will be supplied. Is that too soon?
Garner.
Okay, so 0800 863 293 is the number. Are you about to sell that investment property or batch? Wait, pause, stop until next week, and I'll get you an extra 100k or something like that. Changes to the government's Bright Line rule come into effect next week. This is the piece of law dusted off by political parties as a sort of quasi-capital gains tax on people who are flipping properties soon after buying them to make easy cash. You see, Labor quite stupidly moved it down to 10 years, I thought. Buy and sell within 10 years, and Labor regarded it as flipping, you know. National's bringing it back to 2 years, and buy and sell within that 2-year period, and it's tax. Family homes are exempt, of course. What will be the impact? Prices, listings, all that sort of thing. David Grubb is with property data experts Velocity. G'day, David. Nice to see you again.
Hey, good morning, Kate.
What's going to happen?
Well, if you wait another week, then things are going to change. There's a big difference with the 2 years now because of anyone who bought around the time of after COVID when it was really accelerating.
It's hot, wasn't it?
Yeah. They had low interest rates. The investors were getting in. Mum and Dad were getting into the market. Larger investors were taking an extra property or two, and everything was fantastic. And you had good cash flows because the interest rates were low. And now it's all changed with the interest rates more than doubling, and so now they're in negative cash flow areas. So people are hurting, and they want to
get rid of it.
Yeah.
So do you think, because they've been avoiding selling it just in case they get stung, so do you think once this goes back to 2 years, people will you'll see a flood of listings?
Yeah, we might. I mean, there's about 75,000 people bought during that period, investment properties, and of those, about 25,000 are in negative cash flows at the moment. So if you're a mum and dad and you bought a property and you're watching the market decline at the moment, you might go, I'll unload and come back in when the interest rates are due to come down. So that's middle of next year to the middle of 2026. The Reserve Bank's saying 2% cut in that period. Yes. So that will suddenly change everything.
And people, they may not have used the property that much. Let's say it's a batch. They haven't used it that much. They have regrets. You know, things aren't working out. They could sell that. They can finally put it back on the market. Investment property going backwards, put it back on the market, get rid of it, clean your hands of it.
Yeah, the batch is an interesting one. They reckon the first thing to go when things are tough for people earning good money in town is the batch, because the neighbours can't see the batch go.
Yes.
They can see the flash car go.
See the BMW go?
Yeah.
The boat?
They can't see the batch go, so it's a couple of years grace before the neighbours realise you had to sell your batch.
Yes, not keeping up the Joneses. So with the listings, if there are increased listings come on board, that would force prices down, would it?
Well, the prices are easing still at the moment, generally across the country. There's a few little pots around the place, like West Coast has defied gravity, but that's because their prices are half
Prices
of
are
everything
low.
else.
Have you seen what you can get down there? I was looking the other day.
Amazing,
and I could run away to the West Coast, be mortgage free, and have a decent place on the beach.
Yeah. It's,
what else do you do though?
That's pretty cool, but you might be able to do the transmission
from that. Yeah, that's a good point. I might have them up. But seriously, with the listings, you see prices maybe soften even further. Are prices still coming down? What does your data tell us?
Yeah, so the prices are coming down, and if we do see people coming on the market, although you'd expect to see a little bit of that now, and listings have increased, so but prices are not going up. The states came out and said, listings are increasing, so that's just fantastic. There's going to be it always precedes.
But you guys see the truth. But you guys are the best guys in the business to see data. It's like a blood test. You see everything that is in the blood. So I mean, has there been a sort of secondary dive this year? Have you seen prices even soften further?
So the prices picked up in the middle of last year and going into the election, and it was pretty much about. Going into December, where they just suddenly eased off again, and it's just been a glide slope this year. They've just dropped away just gently, and there's no real change to that at the moment because of the interest rates are super high, so people are under pressure. But as I say, they're going to come off with 25,000 people potentially, wanting to just restructure. And it might be if you have 5 properties, you might go to 4.
Yes,
mum and dad might get out of there if they bought one in.
Yes,
and they went
just
to a seminar.
A bit,
yeah. But at the end of the day, the market's always been good over the long term, and we are projecting. The Reserve Bank's predicting these reductions, but there's a year away.
Yes,
so,
still at least a year away, probably.
Yeah.
And if you look at the tax that people pay on these houses, if they flip them in this 10-year period, I mean, the 10-year was too far. It was too wide, wasn't it?
Yeah, and what they did was they moved it so that it was 5 years for new homes. So people changed their stock, so that soaked up a bit of this overhang of people building houses that were already no one could afford to buy.
What was the tax rate? 30-odd%, was it?
Well, no, you pay whatever your marginal rate is. So, for a lot of people that maybe can afford investment property, they might be paying 39 cents on the dollar.
39 cents on the profit.
Yeah, and they're just about to move trust rates to that. So
then now's the time. Wait till next week. Wait till next week. That's your best advice? Appreciate it. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, all the very best. Cheers. Okay, time for my slam dunk, and let's do this. I want you to answer this question. Should a 12-year-old repeat ram raider be sent to jail and locked up, or should he be sent home with a slap on the wrist and be dealt with by counsellors and hugged and told to change his ways? It hasn't worked, has it? They're doing it because the law allows it. Even this past weekend, 2 violent burglaries have taken place involving hammers and knives. One at the Mount Albert Sports Bar, my old local, where the bloke behind the bar, we know him as Lurch actually, was held at knife point as patrons fought off the attackers. Thought to be young. Then in Papatoetoe last night, same deal. Hammers, knives, and people hurt when a jewellery store was targeted at 5:45pm. Brazen young thugs know the law is virtually on their side and they won't face the music. That's why they're doing it. People are fed up with this. People are fed up with the softy approach, which has no consequences. In the old days, they would have been booted up the arse by the cops and Dad. Now the cops can't touch them and Dad's already in jail. Or has sent the kid out to do the damage in the first place. So Labor introduced a bill, controversial one, that National supported, and it will be debated this week. If passed, it would see 12-year-olds be held criminally responsible for their actions. 12 years of age. In other words, go to court, face the judge, and be sentenced to jail. Now, more than 30 social justice and youth justice groups have signed a petition to stop the ram raid law going through. Parliament, they say, shouldn't pass this. They say dropping the age in which teenagers can be criminalised to 12 from 14 will mean these disadvantaged kids continue to be treated poorly. And they will become gang members much, much faster by sending them to adult jail. These groups want to hand the petition to the country's political leaders on Wednesday at Parliament and say, don't do this. Currently, only the most serious cases like murder can see a youth in front of an adult court. But this means that those youngsters caught up in serious ram raids and thuggery and violence and that sort of thing, assaults, general unruliness, could be sent to jail and transferred to the big house, that's the adult jail, when they are of age. Welcome, boys. You like this? This shit just got really serious. The bleeding hearts want them to avoid that for all the obvious reasons, but the politicians are playing to the masses here, of course they are, who quite rightly want something done. They're sick, the public are sick of the free pass, and in the face of poor parenting and poor choices, the law is set to be changed. The outcome, I fear, will be worse, but the public is baying for blood, and the politicians must hear that or face looking for a new job come the next election. They really have little choice but to do something. It's not like the current model has been an outstanding success at all, has it?
Garner.
Okay, 0800 863 293 is the number. Lots of feedback coming in here too. Dave, we got you on the line. G'day, Dave.
Hey, Duncan, I wanted to talk about the boats, but I'm actually inspired about your slam dunk right there.
Oh,
mate.
yeah? Oh, yeah, the masses are coming in. What inspires you?
Well, here's the problem, right? Because I'm all for being held responsible for your actions, but the current recidivism rate of our penal system is incredibly low. You know, we end up creating more offenders in a prison system. So we need to look at other more Scandinavian countries. How do they deal with this kind of stuff? It's not just slam them in a prison and be like, now, fucking sort your shit out. They'll put them in prison, put them through therapy programs, go into training programs, you know, try set them up with a future instead of being like, nah, you're a piece of shit and you're always going to be a piece of shit.
So I looked at those models and I looked at the Scandinavian models and they put in units and housing units and they're treated as real human beings with dignity and looked after and given everything that they need to get on the right track. It's a totally different system.
Exactly.
It won't go down with the public well here, but it's starting to work there.
Well, yeah, it won't go down with the public well here, but, I mean, it's what the right thing to do. I mean, again, question, the boats, is it the right thing to do was cancelling it? No, but it's public image, right? National wanted to seem like they were hard, so they cancelled that, and now it's coming back to bite them in the ass. It'll be the same thing if we throw 12-year-olds in prison.
Yeah, well, you put 12-year-olds in a youth justice centre, and the bigger boys groom them to be tough bastards. So, honestly, I know what the public wants, but it won't work.
Mate, I went through teen homes here, not like the boys' homes from back in the day, but, you know, run teen homes, and it's not a fun place. The people I was with were the kids from the mongrel mob and black power leaders who were taken off, who couldn't go into SIFs because they were way too nuts for SIFs, so they got put in Christian teen homes, and it was not a fun place to be.
Yeah, well, my best mate was in the Orwadaka boys' home, and I tell you what, that was fast turning him into a gang thug. And we got him pulled out of there, and I tell you what, he's a success story today. But it's because he left there, not because he was there. It was violent and horrible, you know.
Oh, yes, I got beatings every day. I don't want to sound like it was a race thing, but it really was because I was white boy in a predominantly black area, and they saw me as the enemy, which is not their fault. I see that as a part of society's programming. You know, if everyone teaches them that I'm a piece of shit because my people came and took their land, what do they know better?
Yeah.
The teenagers.
Yeah.
I can't hate them.
Davo, always appreciate your call, mate. Keep in touch with us.
Cool.
Okay,
see ya.
Take care, boss.
Duncan Garner.
Yeah, that is us, and that's us for today. What do you do? Do you put 12-year-olds in prison, Garner? It's a tough one, isn't it? Eh? No, you don't, do you? No, you're nodding no.
No, I'm from Gisborne, and first thing, Christopher Luxon, boot camps are never going to work. I know someone that works for Oranga Tamariki who deals with the most vulnerable children, murderers, all the rest of it. They are not going to work. No. They're just not. This government's got it so far wrong. It is a very whitewash law that sounds like it's come out of a house in Remuera and hasn't actually come from
it's governing by slogans.
Heartland, New Zealand.
It's governing by slogans.
It is, it is. And you don't put 12-year-olds in prison.
Yeah, but the Labour and National both on this.
How about we actually fix our bloody poverty issue, which will then fix what these 12-year-olds are doing?
Parenting.
Yep, but why are they doing it? They're in poverty.
Yeah, gangs, membership, all that stuff. Anyway, this will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly and wherever you get your great podcasts. Thanks for all your feedback and your support. Lots of feedback in today. Really appreciate it. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Kalo, Miranda, Forrester and Zarina, thank you guys. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Remember, life ain't no dress rehearsal. There is no curtain raiser. You're in it. You're living it. This is one of the best places on earth, so get out, enjoy it, and enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, New Zealand. Ta-da.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.